Welcome to the Solar Coaster, a renewable energy themed talk show right here in lovely Maui County. Aloha and welcome to the Solar Coaster live show, the film show. I'm not sure, across the country, 2021.
We are live, we are here.
We're in Cuttyhunk Island in Massachusetts with Wayne Perrier. I want to say Wayne Pereira or some other pronunciation.
Around here it's Pereira. Lots of Portuguese around.
Right. Wayne Perrier. And Wayne's in charge of the microgrid system here, the new microgrid system. Yep. We were here 3 years ago when this was installed for the commemoration of that system. So welcome to the show, Wayne.
Glad to be here.
Appreciate it.
All right, so let's just, for people that are watching, let's give them a sense of what this system is and where this has come from. Tell us about Cuttyhunk for a second.
Well, it's an isolated island. I mean, it's 7 to 8 miles from the mainland. It's 3 miles long and 2.5 miles wide. And there's like 5 of us here in the wintertime and about 400 something residents in the summertime.
And for decades, you've been running the energy systems here as part of, I guess, your responsibilities, right?
21 years running it.
And that looked like a handful of gensets, I assume?
It's 4 of them, four diesels. And they ran, you know, they'd alternate, but they'd run 24/7 because there's no other power supply, nothing from the mainland. We just generate our own power.
So that was your standard for decades. And then a few years ago, a handful of companies got together and some of the selectmen, is that what you describe them as? The people that are decision makers out here?
Yeah.
And then I understand you were a big part of lobbying for the solar system. I just did the math on it. About 397 kW, if I'm not mistaken, 1,100 solar world, 345, 72 cell modules, 2-in-2 portrait configuration, really nice array. So the big question, I think Jay's got a big question for you.
Was it worth it?
Yeah, it was worth it because, like, between oil and fuel, you know, we used to burn 63,000 gallons a year of diesel. Now it's like 17,000. I mean, that's saving a lot of diesel fuel.
So a 75% fuel offset average over the last 3 years. That's a pretty big impact.
Yeah.
Do you think it's going to net the financial returns that you were promised on this?
Down the road, yes. I can't see why it shouldn't. I mean, you know, we're not, like I say, we're not spending for the fuel. We're not spending, you know, oil filters and everything, because you should change the oil every 500 hours. Now I haven't changed them for months, because each generator I can run, you know, and it's not running long enough to come up to 500 hours.
So these gen sets are now true backup systems.
They're standbys actually now. I mean, it shut off this morning when you guys got here, and I mean, it's not running.
I was a little concerned when we came in and that there was noise coming from the power.
Well, it's been, you know, foggy and cloudy and everything else like that. But sometimes it runs just to ramp the batteries up, you know, to a certain percentage, and then it'll shut down.
So that's all automatic.
Yep. It's set up different gens can run. But like I say, nothing's probably going to run all day now.
Now, I understand there's a lot of positives here. You've reduced the fuel by 3/4. You've reduced the O&M and the operating and maintenance of all these systems. The oil that you just said, for example. But what's a negative? What's something that didn't quite work out the way you expected it to?
The location of the battery, you know, the battery packs at the powerhouse. I wanted them in the back of the building, but the town didn't own any land there. It was privately owned. And the person was going to donate the land, and everybody said, oh good, then we'll move the fire station and put this here and that here, maintenance building. I went, all I want is to put the batteries back there out of the wind. And the guys, oh, forget it, you know, that was the end of it. So it ended up out front. But where it is, out here in the winter, in northeast storms, I mean, the wind really, really blows. It's getting, you know, rain and wind's really hitting it. And it caused a big fuse to blow one winter. So then they came out and they had to revamp the whole design of the cabinet.
So not quite up to snuff as far as...
That's the only problem I really had.
Weather.
The weather.
Was it moved back to the location you suggested originally?
No, it's still where it is, but they had to redo it. No, you'd have to, for pads, you'd have to, you know, it's a big deal.
Right, moving those things are no nonsense.
It's we get PMS or 1 and 2, 2's in the back, and that's fine. I wanted to put them both in the back, but like I said, everybody, let's put everything else there, but what I wanted.
Now I understand that you have a you have an energy curve, if I can put it that way, over the year where it's influenced by some events in the summer, and you had to get creative about how to handle that. So can you tell us about the marina and the boats and what you had to do?
Well, what happened is we only put out 500 volts primary, and that's not a lot to play with, 3-phase. But the boats they have today coming into the marina, I mean, they got dishwashers, they got I mean, they're huge. Sometimes the marina draws just as much or more than the whole actual island. So what's happened is pulling the voltage down on the island. And I said to the powers to be, let's get a temp generator on a trailer just for the summer, tied into the marina. So when I see the marina climbing out of sight, I get the temp online. It strictly runs the marina and unloads, you know, that big load off the island. Because I don't have too much, I don't have big primary voltage to play with.
You know, this reminds me of sizing solar systems and solar plus battery systems and thinking about trying to hit 100% offset and the challenge of these outlying events, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is probably just a couple of months a year, or maybe even.
It's good. Yeah, it's going to be here. You got July and August. That's
July and
all I need
August.
All I need it for.
So you don't even have to buy that thing. You rent it. Someone brings
Rent it. Got from Caterpillar, and they take it. They take it away.
So that's how you handle that particular situation.
It's more experimental this year because I've been asking them to do it for years, but it's working. I tried the other day.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Voltage was coming down, and the marina was packing up. I just unloaded it, and everything, sort of stabilized.
Yeah,
I think
that balancing act.
Yeah, I think sometimes people think in black and white, like, oh, if I can't handle that, then I might as well not get a solar plus battery system. But in this circumstance, you're covered for 90% of the year, and in that one scenario, you've got a solution.
Yeah, you're crazy if you put a solar in with just panels. I mean, you got to have battery.
Right.
That's the key here.
So there's a lot of islands that are still running on generators. You just mentioned Mohegan, for example, right? And I have to be familiar with Mohegan up in Maine. Isle of Hot, that's another place up in Acadia we were talking about that's running off of an old line from the mainland. But for other people like yourselves, unique fellows that are out here running these islands, what would you say to them about the prospect if they're on the fence of whether they should put in a solar plus battery system or not? What would you give them? What advice would you give them?
Well, I told the guy in Mohegan, runs Mohegan, Smith, I can't think of his first name. I said, you better get this, man. I said, it's going to save your generators. How's it working out? I said, it's working out great. It's working out great. Saving fuel. It's the best thing they did.
Good enough.
Very good. All right, well, this has been Wayne Perrier, Cuttyhunk Island, Energy Systems
Guru.
Power
in
plant
charge.
manager,
DI.
quote, janitor.
everything, wearing a lot of hats.
He's very much a do-it-yourself, do-it-all
Babysitter.
kind of guy. You know what the saying is. You prove competency, you're going to get all the work.
No, I know.
All right, and this is the first summer 2021 Solar Coaster Cross Country road show taping. So thank you for being the first.
No problem.
And we appreciate you doing this thing.
First and second.
And this